Howdy y'all, and welcome to GNU Image Manipulator program, lovingly known as GIMP, featuring Songs of Syx. Today I wanted to go over how I plan out my bases, and what's been successful for me, and how you can do the same thing. So first we're going to start with getting a super screenshot. To zoom in, and I haven't placed my base yet, you can do this beforehand. Let's do a super screenshot. We're going to do medium quality. You can do large as well, although we're going to shrink it down so it doesn't matter a whole lot. If you do the smallest one, it'll run into some graphical glitches. Let's go ahead and create that, and while that's going, let's go ahead and open it up. And those are located in, sort by alphabetical here, users, user, which is my profile name, app data, roaming, hang with me here, Songs of Syx, screenshots, super. And if we sort of date modified, we can get the most recent one. Alright, so here we have the same map we were looking at, and we're going to do the first step, which is by far the most important and the coolest. We are going to scale our image down, and we want to scale it down to be a 6 grid size. So that's 768 by 768 is the play area. And this X and Y resolution here means how many pixels we're going to shrink down to 1. If you use the medium screenshot, it's 8. If you use the large, it's 16. If you use the small, it's 4. But again, I wouldn't recommend it. Interpolation, you can change this if you like. I find keeping works the best. So let's go ahead and tinyify this. And now we have what kind of looks the same. The only difference is it's all pixely. So if we draw on it, it automatically puts down a pixel where we would draw a block in Syx. And you can freehand anything you like here. It's the worst penis I've ever drawn. There's something wrong with that. But it will automatically, since we're working in sort of pixel sizes, put down where a block would be or would go. And if we hit Shift M here, you can see down here, which is blank now, that we're at 579,210. And if we go ahead and place that, we paused, and go to 579,210. Do a little more. There we go. So this right here is the same spot as this guy right here. Wherever that was. So every pixel on this is lined up with the grid in Syx because we made them the same size, and each pixel is a grid basically. And not just being able to freehand on it, but you can use very select tools, R for rectangle. And if we draw this out here and go to border, you can create a border of 1, and it'll automatically do that for us. If we hit Shift B, we can fill that in. I should be doing that on a new layer. Sure, we'll name it Lower City, why not? And then, if you're, making a building, you can understand that it, the top corner of this starts at 562,172, and then if we hit Shift M, we can measure it out and know that it's 52 pixels wide. Let's go ahead and undo that, and you can do the same with an ellipse, which is probably more valuable to me than a rectangle is going to be. And if we draw one right, let's see, there we go. And we can do the same. You can also grow it to make it larger, or shrink it to do the opposite. And when you're using border, make sure you use border style hard here. The other ones add some extra pixels because both GIMP and Photoshop aren't really used to working with pixel size images. So let's say you're making a defensive wall here instead of a building. And we can do this 5 pixels wide, which is actually going to add 5 pixels to either side. So this is a total of 11 wide. Then let's say this were a wall. Let's get a more wall-shaped color there. And fill that in. And while not fancy, you can kind of see the power of this. So I know that to zoom into the top left of the pixel here, see if you notice from down here, it changes from each corner. But again, we can see, it starts at that location. It's 25 pixels wide. And then you can just directly map this into your game. I wish there was a clever way to do this, but I suggest choosing the relaxing substance of your choice. And just a lot of tabbing back and forth. You know, this is 25 wide, and then this one starts at 534, 299, and it's 5 wide. And the next one is 3, and so on. And you just get to map it directly back and forth. Not the funnest time, but again, the substance of your choice makes it a lot easier. Let's draw some things out on here. The first thing I saw with this map that I thought would be fun would be, let's see, if I wanted a wall right along here, and if I use shift, I can, maybe I don't want to get into that yet. Let's just do this for now. Get into more advanced stuff later. And if I do the select, border, and let's do a slightly thinner wall, and it gives me that radius along here, except we don't want this stuff on the inside, so we can go ahead and do our rectangle tool with R, and hold Control to remove the selection. Let's cut it off there and there. Then Shift B to fill it in. And now we have this wall mapped out, and we know exactly where everything's going to be. So it'll start at 270, 617. It is yay long. And then each of these you can also measure out and fill in. And this is really the big advantage of this technique is how you can just draw on your own map using graphic design tools, and all of your blocks will align exactly to what the Syx map is. So all of these are the same as the value you see on the top left here of this menu, which is really handy. And that also means that the top left corner is 0, 0. And then of course the last one is going to be 768, 768. You can hover on that from here. There we go. And you can also do things like compound selections. So say if I wanted to take this and I wanted to make a straight wall going here. This is the lasso tool. I'm going to hit shift and click once. And you can also hold control at the same time if you want it to be at cardinal angles. Let's just go here and here. And then back to that guy and then finish off our selection. So now we have this whole wall that we could fill in. Actually, let's go ahead and make a new layer. And we're not drawing directly on our image. And so now we have part of the wall here. And likewise, you can use the paths tool to do much more complicated selects and things like that. If you've never used these before, I am not the person to teach you. But basically, you move either end of these. This one will be affecting the other side. So this one will affect this curve. And if I had another one in here, see if I went back to this point, nope, Control Z that. Using a trackball in my hands are not great. So if we just move this one side, it'll affect that. And let's go with let's see, go from here. I want this one to be a little straighter, so we'll line this up with that. And then we can do selection from path. And you can see this doesn't really look like anything you might quite want, but that's okay. As we're going to border it again. And then we can get rid of the sections we don't want. I'm going to do that with the ellipse tool. Like that. There we go. And kind of, let's see, not quite like that. Get in there and make a nice smooth curve. There are better ways to do this, but again, I'm a developer, not a graphic designer, so I'm just making do. All right, let's fill that guy in. And if you wanted, you could come in here with either the pencil tool with N and smooth out some curves, or nope, not that one. Shift E for eraser. And we could, say this is a little thick in here. Let's smooth that out some. And here we have, the basic layout of the wall. And we could, build some roads in here. Let's go ahead and do that. Add another layer real quick. Say, there's that. Shift Control A to deselect. And I wanted my road to come out something like this. This is probably going to look terrible. We can always clean it up afterwards. That's fine. And same select. Which I guess since it's the road, we don't have to do that. We can just fill it right in. This obviously looks terrible because I freehanded it, and that's not a thing I'm good at. Normally I would do something like take a selection from here, and then grab, ideally, center this, and then subtract from that. And somewhere around there. And let's use the rectangle tool to clear out some of that. And fill it in with a different color. Oh God, what have I done? What was that? And, oh no, I've done a thing I don't understand. Nope, just use black then. Alright, and that doesn't look great, but again, we can clean it up. Shift E. We click once and then hold Shift. We can draw a straight line. And using Control and Alt and scroll, we can make our paintbrush bigger. There we go. So now kind of the beginnings of a layout here, using some various tools. Another thing you can do is in Split River Plains, I utilized a lot of Celtic knot work for the housing. We have the shield knot, the fisherman's knot, and the Trinity knot. So these are all pulled from here, just a random image off the internet. And I've already got it selected, so it's nice and square. And we'll do Control C, Shift Control V to make it into a new image. And you'll notice this is 300 pixels wide. So it's way too big. That would take up half the map. I mean, unless you're into that. But we're going to shrink it down. So this line right here is, we just want the solid parts, is 6. So if we want this to be 1 pixel wide, it means the image needs to be a 1/6 size. So that's going to be, what, 50? So let's do the scale image trick again. We're going to take it down to 50. And that the line is 6, so we want 6 pixels to be reduced down to 1. And then you have this, which is a bit blurry, but we can go ahead and add a new layer and draw on it. Let's bring this size back down. You again click, and then shift and click again. You can draw straight lines. And we can draw over this whole thing until we have an outline. I've already done that here. Go ahead and hide that. Well, there we go. And copy and paste this guy onto our map. And now, Control Shift A to, gotta go to new layer. There we go. And to move. And once we click on this, we could position this anywhere we want on the map. And then we have exact pixel locations of where this is supposed to be. So right here would be 574, 456. So down here. And then you'd know that it needs to be 6 wide from there, and then down that many. That way you can take any sort of, basically any real life image, turn it into pixel art, and then paste it onto your map, and then use this as a template to build into, and then figure out how to fit stuff in it afterwards. See, you can also do things like scaling down existing maps. So here I have the city of Novigrad, which I imagine many of you know well. And first of all, it's not square. It's 1422 by 1724. So we want to turn it into a 1422 square. Let's more carefully, Grab this. Not gonna let me scroll over more? Alright, well, fine. There we go. If I hold shift, it'll automatically give me a square selection. And same with the ellipse tool, if you hold shift, it will make it perfectly round. And I'm looking over here at these values, and I want them to be 1422. Need one more, but that's fine. We'll just bump it up here. Okay, so now we have a nice square map, but it's still the wrong size, even after we crop the selection. So we want it to be 768, which is the size of the 6 play area. Excuse me. So we need to, that's 1 pixel off, but we're going to ignore it. It'll be fine. So since we want this to be 768, we need to figure out how we're going to scale this. So if we do the 1422 divided by 768, we want every 1.85 pixels to shrink down to 1 pixel. Nope, there we go. So let's once again scale it, and let's put our 768 in here. You're gonna... It'll be fine. Alright. If I were doing this for real, I'd be exact, but I'm trying to be fast. So here we're scaling it down to our 768, and each pixel, each 1.85 pixels are going to be turned into a single pixel. Let's go ahead and scale this. And now we have our 6-scaled map of Novigrad. So if you were to zoom in here, and for the pencil tool, do a new layer, and we could start drawing along. Are you not? What's going on here? Come on, you're supposed to work perfect. I'm making a video. Well, this is funny. The joys of using tools I don't fully understand. Let me... Image locked? What's going on here? Well, in any case, you could draw over the borders of these, and then you'd have the layout for each of your buildings. I believe this is actually the whorehouse. Not that I spent a lot of time in here, I just played the game a lot. But using this technique, you could copy each individual pixel, maybe fill in these with pawns or something like that, and then have your land out to these exact pixels, all the borders of the buildings, the paved roads, all that stuff. So that's another way to use this technique that's really handy. And how I use this on split river plains is we see this is the mostly finished map. It's not entirely up to date, but if we hide this one, this is what it started out as. And this is where I started drawing. So if we hide all of the roads, ramparts, walls, see, this is the plain map. I did, I marked all of these as filling in with water because I wanted to know where exactly I could build my walls out to. So I could have this nice smooth seam and have the walls go right up to the water. Also, here's where I use the Celtic knots. See, all the roads are planned out. These we're using mostly the ellipse tool, somewhere around here. And then kind of going out to the center. Look a little bit good. And then doing a border. I think these are 9 wide. Nope, of course they're wider. They're my roads. Close enough. And then I shrunk around these edges and then filled these in. And that let me know exactly where these roads are going to be. And to me, the huge advantage of that is you get to a point in mid-game where, you've probably met your population goals, you've done all the research, you built all the stuff, and you're like, what do I do next? And for me, this has been the solution, is being able to draw things out ahead of time. Show the rest of the stuff. and get an idea of what I want my city to look like, and then kind of building around that until I'm at a point where I can really start filling stuff out. You can see a few things changed here. This was done with the pathing tool. This was an ellipse. These were just straight rectangles with a little ellipse for the corner. Same with the roads, more ellipses that all started at the center of this. Handy tools guides here on the side if you click on the ruler and drag over. So you know you have spots that your cursor will snap to. If I do this again, I can drag out to here and do the same border trick. Nice, right on. And then from after I was just cleaning up the selection and then filling in that part. And this way you can really plan out your base and what you want for the future without having to get to late game and, you know, realize that you built something in a place you didn't want to, or, you know, have to move stuff around. And this technique really kept me going on building split river plains. So I hope this helps you, and I hope you get to build bigger, more awesome bases that I'll get to see as well. Cheers, y'all. Have a good one.